Hello there, and welcome to another action-packed half hour of great power thoughts on the iGaming Next Power Hour. We are completely live. I have this timer here to tell us when our time is running out, and I'm thrilled to be here with two leading lights of the crossover between payments and iGaming. My name's Oisin Lunny. I'm a journalist, event host, and a podcast host for Fortune 500 companies. And today we're going to learn all about iGaming payments for emerging markets, a very exciting area of the iGaming market. And we're going to learn how cash, e-wallets and crypto are empowering these amazing high growth emerging markets for iGaming. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by two leaders and pioneers in the crypto space, in the iGaming space, in the payment space, Tim Heath and Jens Bader. Welcome, gentlemen. Great to have you here on the iGaming Next Power Hour.
Thanks very much, Oisin, and nice to see you. And
Fantastic. Okay, and just to set the scene, we've got hundreds of people joining us, maybe many more hundreds on demand, who knows, because this is broadcast live and it's captured for posterity and shared online. So welcome, however and wherever you're joining us from. I suspect a lot of people will be very familiar with both of your work and both of your history as well in payments, iGaming and crypto. But just in case anybody isn't, I think it would be really helpful if you wanted to just take a couple of minutes just to introduce yourself, talk a bit about what you do and, what brought you to where you are today so people can understand your space in the overlap between crypto payments and iGaming. So starting with your good self, Tim, what's the story of Tim?
So 7 years ago, we started the Coingaming Group and made a decision to work with crypto, specifically Bitcoin back in those days, and now Ethereum, Litecoin, stable coins, Tron, XRP, Cardano. And it was a very, very tough road trying to convince the market of suppliers to work with crypto. We found the adoption of those early adopters of crypto really easy to sort of onboard and give them a fantastic experience. And primarily the greatest thing about it was that someone could deposit 20 times and withdraw 20 times a day. There was no payment processing costs back then. There was no fraud. There was no chargebacks. And we could actually satisfy the customer's need to cash out immediately without being charged, 3% on the way in and 1% on the way out, which would obviously eat up operating costs. So it meant we could be more generous with our players and look after them. And there's been a huge growth of adoption of crypto across the world. And we've really enjoyed, I hope I can say, leading the way of how we believe crypto should be implemented with the correct KYC and AML and due diligence behind the scenes, not to impede the customer. But it's been a wonderful journey, and we've really enjoyed sort of trying to break through new frontiers and take gambling to those markets. So that's what we've been doing with the Coingaming Group, with BitCasino and Sportsbet. And probably the shining moment was when we sponsored Watford in the Premier League, was to whack a Bitcoin logo on the left sleeve for £1 million. And whilst it felt like a lot of money at the time, it was one of the most enjoyable sponsorships we've done, and a little bit of YOLO in there as well, that we didn't give a shit. We just thought, let's do it and let's be a part of the community and resonate with the community. So that's there's a lot of fun to be had with how we can really try and push crypto out there to the wider audience.
Fantastic. Hashtag YOLO indeed. I love that sponsorship example. And Jens, coming over to your good self. I mean, the last time we met, I suspect, was many moons ago at an iGaming conference in beautiful Gibraltar, I believe. And, we've been in touch for many years in this overlap between payments, iGaming, all these interesting high growth sectors. Talk to the audience at iGaming Next a bit about your kind of journey to where you are now and this very interesting overlap between cash, digital payments and fast growing markets.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me today. You see my name down there. I basically spent most of my career in payments, and I worked for small companies, large companies, usually at the intersection of iGaming and payments. I've grown up with payments technology, and I've been, at some point, I've been the Chief Commercial Officer for the PaySafeCard Group. I then went on to become Chief Commercial Officer for a company that's today named Trust Payments. I'm one of the founders of the Much Better Wallet, and just recently joined a smaller company called Funanga, which is a specialized prepaid company, very much focusing onto the iGaming market. And so I've seen the industry, the payments industry and the iGaming industry from many different angles, issuing, acquiring, processing, e-money products, cash products, wallets. So I've got a good understanding what works and what doesn't work, and how we came to where we are today. And that gives me, I think, a unique ability to also look a bit into the future to see where we're going. And Tim already mentioned crypto is a way to go, and I fully agree with that. But there are obviously other sort of approaches, especially for emerging markets, something that we're really heavily focusing. And over the next 20 minutes here, we'll share some of our insights and tell you how to approach an emerging market and to be successful there.
Fantastic. And we will absolutely be inviting both of you to blow the dust off your crystal balls and give our brilliant iGaming delegates a bit of a glimpse into the future to give them that competitive advantage. This is what the Power Hour is all about, gathering together brilliant iGaming minds to benefit folks who are joining us and to absolutely repay that investment of time. And, time and time again, iGaming Next does secure some of the best people in the iGaming ecosystem to share their advice and share their tips on the future. So please do share your thoughts online. If you enjoy this session, please connect with Tim, Jens, and myself on the wonderful platform called LinkedIn and share your thoughts about how good these Power Hour sessions are using the hashtag iGaming Next, and do find iGaming Next on all the social media as well. Okay, so Tim, you spoke about your journey through cryptocurrency, that, $1 million Bitcoin logo on the shoulder of the team. Absolutely brilliant. But cryptocurrency seems to be something that is, to quote one of my favorite characters from the great Zoolander film, so hot right now. Everyone is talking about cryptocurrencies. Even PayPal has a crypto checkout. Now, you've been working in the space for many, many years. What kind of trends would you identify as having led up to this moment right now?
So if you look at there's that sort of growth of innovation and adoption, and I think we've gone past that early adopters, the technology geeks, if I can call that, which I'm very proud to consider myself one as well, of wanting to adopt something new and sort of see where that will disrupt and how it can be applied to different verticals and markets. I think we're now at a place where a lot of people have heard about crypto. A lot of people are interested in crypto, and they want to get on and be a part of it. And I think it's about now trying to make it the on and off ramps really, really easy for the mum and pop type people to nearly have crypto as a part of your bank balance. Because there is a lot of safety issues in there, whether it be a custodial wallet or a non-custodial wallet. The benefit to those more technically advanced people is that you can be in control of your own money, and you're not relying on a third party to hold and sometimes lend out your money and only provide that sort of guarantee as mandated by the governments, that you can actually control your money yourself at your discretion. But I think for a mass adoption of crypto, you need to have good actors who can do a custodial wallet and hold it, be it a PayPal, be it a Revolut, and that will certainly take crypto in an easy way to the mass markets. We've seen extraordinary growth, especially in the Asian markets, where it's almost traditional banking has been bypassed, and it's become mobile money. Everything's done on mobile phone. I mean, if you look at WePay and Alipay, WeChat and Alipay in China, it's 90% of all commerce is now done via those two channels in China. So it's an emerging in emerging markets. They're bypassing traditional technology we've had, and I don't think there are checkbooks in China in that regard. So, look, what I see now is that governments are now looking at how they want to incorporate the digital pound the digital RMB, the digital USD, being a stable coin backed and issued by a government, and that will simply reduce the friction of commerce and the friction of transactions moving money around. So it's great to have governments coming in. It's great to have Tesla buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, and it's great to sort of have that noise around the crypto industry, but it is coming back to the simplest form of moving money back and forth across borders, whether it be $1 or $1 million. It takes the same amount of time, and it doesn't take 6 days via a SWIFT network anymore. So cross-border movements are certainly there. It's not perfect yet. There's still mining fees, and there's still, credit cards were invented in 1960, and we're still using them 80 years on. Crypto is only 10 years old, and there's a lot of iterations and innovations and new layers coming on top of that original blockchain, which will improve the customer experience. But we're certainly seeing a lot more adoption and interaction with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned Asia there. I interviewed a gentleman who is the CEO, I believe, of AES Asia. They run massive live arenas. And he said when he first went over and he was setting his business up in China, they had like tables heaving with bricks of banknotes. And that was only a couple of decades ago. But now it's all done on mobile. It's all done on WePay and Alipay. Absolutely everything. It's fascinating, that side of the world. And so Jens, coming over to yourself, you've obviously seen this growth of cryptocurrencies, the way it matches with other payment methods. And, one of the examples, I believe, is to do with repatriation of funds for iGaming operators. But I'm kind of curious to know, what is the specific relevance of these new digital wallets and cryptocurrencies for the actual punters, the iGaming customers? What does it mean for their experience?
Okay, sure. So as you said, repatriation is a very important part of it, moving the funds to where they need to end up, meeting with the gaming operator. And we're talking emerging markets. Emerging markets is basically opportunity, but at the same time, it's a challenge. And one of the biggest challenges is to collect payments in those markets and then to repatriate them out. Now, in terms of the customers, what does it mean for them? Well, the operator needs to be able to offer payment options that customers accept. So there's an element of education that they need to go through and support their customers to learn about new payment options, new product types, or completely new technology like crypto. And there is obviously also an adoption rate, right? And as Tim pointed out, we're still in the early days, but if you look into Southeast Asia today, massive amounts of especially stable coins being used at this very moment for gaming. And in combination with other payment options, just like a wallet, you can create a very compelling user experience. You can take the friction out of crypto by packaging into a nice financial product that a customer is easy to understand and to control and to operate. Crypto is very efficient in moving funds from A to B, but at some point, the crypto needs to turn into fiat again, at least to a certain extent. Not all of it needs to be fiat. You can net off pay-ins and payouts, but at the end of the day, a customer wants to have and hold hard cash, and the operator needs to have cash to, pay for their expenses. So, and these intersections where crypto leaves or enters the traditional financial, let's say, ecosystem, this is where other payment products come in. That could be an intermediary, and this is usually a wallet, a prepaid sort of service, where crypto then has the ability to smoothly enter or exit the pure crypto world. And this is what we're focusing on a lot, is basically to build a product which combines the upsides and benefits of crypto with a more, let's say, usable and a more familiar product that customers can quicker adopt to or give them a first step into before they're entering into the hard, cold world of crypto. They can actually make an easy entry using a prepaid wallet, a prepaid card, or even a barcode proxy solution that helps them easily just to take a picture and be able then at least to move the funds without even having to understand what happened here. And this is what we're focusing on at the moment. And this kind of experience is what we're trying to create for customers.
Fascinating. Thank you. Okay. And it sounds like there's so many innovative new solutions. You mentioned barcodes, e-wallets, it's all about removing that friction for the customer, and also to a big extent, friction for the operators as well, and just kind of smoothing that onboarding, offboarding, making those ramps as absolutely frictionless as possible. So with all this innovation happening in the space, staying with yourself, Jens, how do you think this affects how people in these emerging markets are looking at the more legacy providers? Do you think they're seeing the same level of innovation, or what does that kind of ecosystem map out like?
I guess in those markets, there is a certain level of practicality and desperation. People just need to have a product that works for them, and they can't be very picky about whether they're choosing a Revolut over another prepaid card. It simply needs to work. So I would say people are almost pushed towards crypto at the moment, because in those markets there are hardly any working alternatives. And so the legacy providers, like old school e-wallets that basically rely on underlying sort of banking networks or other third-party, well, but very often they break. They're more down than up. So I believe the legacy options are not really options anymore. And that leaves innovative products like cash, code solutions, and crypto.
Yeah, fascinating. It's a very live market. There's so much change happening in such a short space of time. And coming over to yourself, Tim, we've been hearing from Jens there about this huge shift in the technology that people are using in innovative new solutions that are just like exploding in the market. Is this an area that it's tricky for the legacy providers to get into, do you think? I'd be curious to get your thoughts on that.
So let's consider credit cards. I don't think credit cards or debit cards are going to disappear from the gaming / e-commerce world. I think the innovations whereby you can now put a credit card inside Apple Pay and hold your phone up to a scanner, or press 2 buttons in your Face ID. This is a fantastic way of improving the user experience of how a credit card did work. But then again, as most operators know, you're never going to get 100% acceptance rate on a 7995 transaction. It's just impossible. And even in some markets, you're down to 30, 40%, which is unbelievable when you think about it. A customer is trying to give you money or deposit money into your site, and 60% of the time it will not work. And they actually will go through and keep trying. And you think, if only I can go and grab their hand and help them. And I feel so bad for a customer like that. So now you take something like a MetaMask, which is a Chrome extension, and that opens up an authenticated payment channel between the casino cashier and your Chrome extension wallet. Money, excuse me, is on demand, if I can say that. It's there, whatever's in the wallet is available to be bet. You don't even need to make that deposit. It basically puts a PSD2, an open banking in Europe, but using crypto. So you actually remove that whole deposit process. It doesn't exist anymore. It's simply link my wallet, press the button, and play or spin the wheel, or make your bet. So how does a credit card, which they think innovation is now going inside Apple and paying them 5 cents per transaction, is innovative because you can double click. But it's not actually rethinking how that whole experience is for a customer. And the more we can onboard people into using open payment channels with crypto, even if it is a stable coin to remove the volatility, which everyone worries about, stable coins remove that. And it's an open channel that you remove that deposit and withdrawal process. When you close the browser, the money is in your wallet, which I suppose Trustly's done this to a certain extent with their pay and play product, a wonderful band-aid to a broken banking solution. But I think there is a further iteration that perhaps these legacy companies need to stop and rethink, not necessarily remove their existing legacy revenue streams and methods, but actually have an R&D team who are progressively, don't discount and give shit to the crypto market, actually think maybe we need to think about how it can be a part of our process moving forward. Otherwise, you become the Kodak the camera industry, like we've all seen before. There is some. It's really amazing the sort of iterations we're now seeing in the crypto. The innovation in crypto is by far outpacing the innovation of credit cards, and I think that's the bottom line here.
Mm. Yeah, indeed. That Kodak moment is kind of a byword for cultural obsolescence. I would say the technology was there; they had the technology, but culturally, it was too much of a stretch for them to even investigate it or to take it seriously. So yeah, it's some interesting parallels, I think. And coming over to yourself, Jens. So we heard there that credit cards are, they're not going away per se, but they are less popular in these emerging markets. What are some of the technologies, because there's a lot of them out there, what are some of the technologies that folks in the iGaming ecosystem, in the iGaming industry should be aware of in these emerging markets?
Well, I'll probably say something very surprising and very selfish here, but I believe that people should also consider cash, just pure old-fashioned cash. It's the most universal payment option in the world. That basically means you get access to every single customer on this planet. Now, given technology and where technology is today, there are very smart ways of actually, allowing cash to participate in an online transaction in a very safe and controlled way. And so there are very, very advanced sort of payment schemes in some of these emerging markets where a customer could simply make a cash payment. And the beauty here is not just is it basically technology independent, it's you access every single customer. You've got no chargebacks on it. And it basically maintains a level of privacy for the customer as well. So it gives them a choice and it gives them privacy. And in an emerging market, cash is an important element of any operator's sort of payment strategy. And I'd like to encourage iGaming operators to look into cash solutions in those markets, especially the ones that then allow you to easily repatriate those locally collected cash funds without having to go through the headaches of seeing, how do I get that money out? How much do I lose on the FX? Funds in transit, will they get blocked? Will they get confiscated? All these kind of things. And there are very smart solutions out there that start simply with cash, very easy for the customer, and then have a very beautiful model in the end using crypto on how the funds actually get within the next day into an account where it should be. So cash is the way to go in a combination with Tim's crypto strategy.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, yes, I'm crypto, but I still need an on-ramp and an off-ramp for a customer so they can go and buy the milk and the bread. And if cash is one of those on-ramps, then I'm very, very happy to work with a product like Funanga, because that will help me in emerging markets to do what I need to do. The one funny story I have with a Portuguese guy owning a casino in Angola and trying to repatriate funds. He used to buy Porsches and ship them to Germany and sell them on the second-hand market. It was the only way to get money out of Angola because they're not part of the SWIFT banking network. So there is some. I don't think that's the most efficient way of doing it, but there are some very creative ways of repatriating funds in that sense.
Oh, that's hilarious. My goodness, where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, indeed. That is an alternative payment distribution network, if ever I heard one. So thank you both so much for those tips. It's absolutely brilliant. So do ignore cash at your peril, ignore crypto at your peril. And there's an ocean, there's a universe of connecting solutions to make it less and less to make it more and more frictionless in between cash, crypto, money in, money out, onboarding, etc. Tim, staying with yourself, I'm curious to know, are there any new solutions in your sector? They could be somewhere else. There could be something you're working on that you think folks in the iGaming space tuning in today should be aware of?
So, yeah, I think a lot of the operators, even the Maltese ones with the MJ license, banking is the most difficult thing in the European Union, in fact, across the world at the moment. It's unbelievable why it's considered to be a high-risk industry when it's actually a very safe and stable 3.5% return on every dollar spent type industry. So banking is something we're looking into in a big way in Yolo Investments. And then how that money moves across the world on that repatriation front and how that Forex works across there. One of my R&D teams are working on the Lightning Network, which allows you to basically stream money across borders where you're utilizing programmatic Bitcoin traders to buy and sell the two different pairs of currencies. And the Bitcoin is actually the transport layer, and then it's rebought when the money comes back into Europe, again, programmatically on an auction. So if somebody has too many Hong Kong dollars and wants euros, then you might even get a better rate. But it will make it a very, very efficient market, supply and demand programmatically. You buy the Bitcoin, it gets sent through an open payment channel like I discussed before, and then it's rebought back in Europe. And that takes all of 0.7 of a second. So you can actually stream money consistently. And what we're creating is a banking network with banking licenses from Philippines, Singapore, Dubai, Europe, and UK to allow people to have a single banking group and then have this ability to transfer money between different regulated, so you can move your Singapore dollars to your euros or pounds, and we'll provide that Forex route in there, but actually the money will move across the Lightning Network. And we're trying to work out the name for the bank. We've got a few ideas. So at the moment, Next.io is one of the options. One.io, the number one, or Whale.io. I like Whale, but we're still trying to work out where this is. But it's a crypto and gambling banking financial group set up specifically for people who deal with this type of these types of money movements on a regular basis. Boutique banking in that sense, and it's basically come out of our necessity that we want to build a good solution. So if it works for us, let's take it to the market and offer our services and take a little percentage of a transaction to try and make a few bucks. So it's very exciting technology.
Wow. And Tim, where should people, keep tabs on? Should they connect with you on LinkedIn if they want to find out more, or is there a website they should sign up to, or is it early days?
That's certainly the current. We have an OTC trading desk called Ames Holding at the moment, which is one of the points. But we're launching the banks gradually. But the best place, LinkedIn is great, I agree. But the Clubhouse Talks by iGaming Next every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. They are fantastic. Follow them, listen, and jump on the panel and say a few words. They're really, really enjoyable. Just industry off the top of their head, let's talk. And there's a great group of people on there, and it's very interesting conversation. That would be a really good place to connect and ask questions and give answers. So
yeah, I was on the previous iGaming Next Clubhouse meeting, and I was sort of doing something noisy. I was chopping food at the time, but I was listening to your advice around crypto, so I found that fascinating. I can recommend those Clubhouse sessions. It's a brilliant app. And Jens, how about yourself? Do you have any tips for solutions that folks should be looking out for, or any networks they should be plugged into, or anything you want to mention to the folks tuning in?
Yeah. Okay, so Tim moved back to Europe, so I'll do the same. Our core competence is obviously cash, but personally, I'm very excited about some of the, let's say, innovation in banking as well. Very slow, but we see it happening. So everything that's around real-time movement of funds, so SEPA instant credit transfers on the SEPA rails, is something that we're looking into to make use of these rails. Real-time settlement networks as it relates to banking, but also to cards, and basically everything that allows funds to move in a real-time fashion. So I would say, besides the pure cash focus that we're having and that we're trying to service the gaming industry, we will be investing some of our time and money into coming up with, let's say, cash-connected banking rails, where we would be piggybacking onto SEPA instant credit transfers to turn payments into a push payment rather than a pull payment, take the risk out, make the funds move immediately, give both sides of the transaction confidence and comfort. And this is basically what I would keep an eye on if I was a gaming operator and I would be focusing on the European market. Try to get a solution in place that allows you to benefit from these SEPA instant credit transfers as quickly as possible.
Fantastic. And Tim, we are kind of running down the clock and it does stop at exactly 0. Is in one sentence, do you have any closing advice for the delegates here?
Don't be afraid of crypto. Jump in, get your first dollar, try it out, and it's like using Uber for the first time. You'll never hail a cab in your life again afterwards.
Wow. Fantastic word. Jens, do you have like 10 words to share with the folks, or should we wrap up?
Yeah, everyone should fall in love with cash again. And other than that, just have a cold drink after the session.
Oh, fantastic. My closing words, you only live once, but as Mae West said, if you do it right, that's once is enough. Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jens. Thank you, Tim. iGaming Next. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.